Hi everyone, this is Marianne and I'm doing a technology-infused assessment module. So what were my perceptions about teaching ELLs before starting this course? I thought that all ELLs were immigrants, they were low socioeconomic students, they would drop out of school before graduating, they were all behind in school, they're all fluent in their native language, their parents don't speak any English, and that they were all in bilingual classes. However, after taking the course, my perception did change, and I learned that ELLs are the fastest growing student population in the US. Not all ELLs are immigrants. Having a strong native home language helps build a foundation for English learning. Learning a new language can be very emotional and stressful for ELLs. Teachers need to be especially flexible with teaching ELLs because every student learns differently. So what are some common misconceptions about ELLs? The first misconception is that young ELLs are able to learn an L2 much quicker than an adult. That is false. Adult ELLs are actually able to learn an L2 quicker because they have an established L1. Young ELLs are still learning how to read, write, and expand their vocabulary in their L1. Misconception 2. ELLs can learn just by interaction and exposure. That's false. Although both are very important, students need proper guidance to ensure the material learned is correct. Misconception 3. To learn English, ELLs need to adapt to the new culture. That is false. It's important for ELLs to keep a close connection with their native culture instead of trying to adapt to a new one because they need a solid prior knowledge of their culture in order to connect with the new culture. Misconception 4. ELLs who can fluently speak English have the necessary English skills. That's false. Just because an ELL is able to speak English does not mean they know how to read and write in English. Take a baby, for example. Just because they're able to speak doesn't mean they're able to read and write. Misconception 5. Teachers should correct ELL's grammar as they speak so that they don't make the mistake again. That is false. Constantly correcting ELLs decreases their confidence and will decrease the likelihood of them ever answering questions out loud again. ELLs will learn to self-correct as they learn sentence structure patterns and recognize correct grammar. Top 5 concepts all teachers should know when working with ELLs. The first one is the Krashen's comprehensible input, which is I+1, meaning students learn one level above their abilities and skills. To promote comprehension, I can use labels and visuals around the room to help expand their vocabulary, and I can play games like Simon Says to challenge their understanding of words in response. The second one is Krashen's affective filter. ELLs are less motivated when they're unhappy. To help motivate students, I'll try to lower their affective filter so that it doesn't affect their learning. I can do so by creating a comfortable environment where they feel wanted. The third one is scaffolding instruction. ELL learners learn by visuals and graphics, the teacher modeling, group work, simple language, and by hands-on experience. So this is very beneficial for content-based learning because it doesn't require as much spoken language, and this type of instruction is also it's very great for assessing students' knowledge. The fourth one is BICS, which is Basic Interpersonal Communication Skills. ELLs use this language when they're having a casual conversation. It's also called playground talk, and it doesn't require as much complex language. To promote this, every morning I can have like a bell ringer where students speak to one another about what they had for dinner the night before to promote a conversation. The fifth one is Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency, which is CAP, and ELLs learn this skill in school and need BICS in order to have CAP. It takes years to learn, and I can use many strategies to teach it, such as stretch it and no opt-out. So what are some do's and don'ts that teachers should keep in mind when working with ELLs? The first one is do model for students. Students really appreciate this, and they want to know what's expected of them. The second one is don't speak too fast. Teachers should really articulate, and it helps allow a wait time so that the students have the chance to process what's being said. The third one is do use non-linguistic cues. Using gestures, visuals, and nonverbal cues helps with both content and language instruction. The fourth one is don't ignore raised hands. Some teachers move on before answering all questions, and this actually leaves students behind. The fifth one is do check for understanding. Checking for understanding helps the teacher pace their instruction, and it keeps students alert. The sixth one is don't discourage students from using their native language. Having a strong L1 helps comprehend an L2, so by discouraging an L1, it will actually discourage the student from learning an L2. The seventh one is do give verbal and written instructions. Providing two forms of instruction is especially helpful for ELOs. Number 8, don't use slang and idiomatic expressions too much in the classroom. A teacher's goal is to properly teach English, and by adding slang in it, it kind of stresses the students out. Number 9, do get to know your students. Not all ELOs come from the same background, and each student is very unique. So having a personal connection can build trust between the teacher and the student. The last one is don't exclude parents. Parents are an important factor to their child's growth. By including parents, it actually helps the ELL's achievement rate. It reduces absence, improves social skills, and reduces the chance of any behavioral problems. And here are my citations. Thank you, everyone.